Just a few days ago, I was struggling to beat Pantheon 5 in Hollow Knight. I sucked, so much so that I had to cheat in order to beat it. Silksong was about to release within a few hours, but I didn't want to play it without beating Hollow Knight in its entirety. So I decided to take on the mission of beating every Radiant boss in Hollow Knight. I only had a few hours left, and I didn't want to wait on Silksong. With 44 bosses left, I got to work. Believe me, I am overcharmed. I don't know why the UI isn't showing it, it's probably glitched out. We're not going to be changing the charms for this boss fight because the Shaman Stone is still really good for this boss fight since it's really tedious without it. And I do have the Soul Eater on, that's why I'm getting extra soul. Usually it's not such a good charm since it takes up 4 notches, but since I'm going to be overcharmed anyway, it's actually a decent choice. Silksong releases within a few hours, and I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of nervous because some of these bosses I happen to damage tank and I've never really beaten them before in a Radiant level. So I just hope I can beat this entire game properly before, well, Silksong just drops out of nowhere. I do have the Flukemarm on because a lot of speedrunners use it to end the game a lot faster. Even though I have absolutely no experience with the Flukemarm, which is pretty obvious because I don't know what I'm doing, I think I'm going to be able to get used to it pretty quickly, and I hope it helps me finish the game a lot faster. You know, not to shame anybody, but I have seen some people have a hard time with False Knight on a Radiant level. I mean, he telegraphs all of his attacks, which I don't know why people are struggling with. Maybe it's because they're a bit newer to the game, but I understand people struggling with Failed Champion, but there is a trick to beating him as well, which would let you just spam spells on him, and I'll show you that in a bit after this fight. This is one of my favorite boss fights, by the way, because it's all very satisfying to beat him and everything. For the Failed Champion, I am going to equip the Spell Twister because I am going to be spamming the spells on him. So this is the first phase of the fight. This is the only part of the fight that is only going to be relevant where you're actually going to have to fight him fairly. And after he just goes down and gets knocked out, I'll show you a little neat trick that you can use to just cheese this boss fight really easily. Yeah, there we go. What we're going to do is just pogo him on the armor because he doesn't take damage there. And we're going to keep infinitely dream nailing him every time we need to refill our tank, just so we can spam our spell onto him. He's going to stay down, but make sure you hit him in between each dream nail, or each 2 dream nails. I'm just doing it because I can't do it properly since I'm having to pogo off of him. So right now, yeah, as you can see, I can just spam the Shade Soul and my Abyss Shriek onto him, and just with one nail hit, yeah, he should be done. And doing the same process all over again, this should be a very easy boss fight. I am going to be equipping the Shaman Stone and the Fluke Nest at the same time, so that I can cheese Hornet a bit easier. The thing about small opponents in this game is that they take knockback. When you hit them, they go backwards. Oh, I'm going to fumble here a little bit. Like I was saying, I'm going to have to hit them backwards towards the Fluke Nest so that they take double damage. It's very difficult to do. I don't know if I can do it properly, but from what I have seen in a video, I don't really have another choice but to try and do this so that I can cheese them faster. Sentinel Hornet is a lot harder than regular Hornet because she does this parrying mechanic where she just returns damage towards you even if you land a strike on her because she's parrying. Doing this also messes with your movement. Since I have steady body on, she also kind of messes with my movement, and I have to make sure that I'm not pressing forward and in onto her because I will take damage on impact. I'm not even going to begin to explain what I'm gonna do to the massive moss charger. Just press X, honestly. Just press your attack button. That's all you need to do. Flukemarm is a bit tricky, but I think Soul Eater makes this whole boss fight a lot easier. Soul Eater and Shaman Stone. So basically when the flukes come out, you just spam your Abyss Shriek onto him, and the fight should end fairly quickly. There isn't much to explain for the Mantis Lords because all you really do is just avoid their attacks. I am going to be using my nail art to get through this first phase a lot quicker because I won't be able to use it on multiple opponents at the same time. When you do the Great Slash, there's a small delay before you can move, and I don't want to be caught with my pants down. In this particular phase of the fight, I will not be very dependent on spells because I feel like it slows me down. I will be squeezing in a few Abyss Shrieks and a few Shade Cloaks here and there, but I think that's about it. I don't really prefer using the Descending Dark in this particular boss fight because I feel like it's not that very effective. Nails are just faster. Moving on to Sisters of Battle, this is where I'm going to be using Descending Dark a lot more often. The first phase of the fight is just like Mantis Lords, where I just have to deal with this one guy jumping at me. But overall, even if there's 3 of the Mantises jumping at me at the same time, I feel like it's not that overwhelming as it's supposed to be. If anything, it's just kind of fun. This is the part of the fight where I'll be using the Descending Dark. When 2 of the Mantises throw a nail like this, I'm going to have to Descending Dark and use the invincibility frames to get out of the situation. I could do it normally, but I feel like it's gonna be a lot slower. And it feels a lot more satisfying to do it, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know how to avoid it normally. So I just built up the habit of doing this all the time. For the Obloubles, I'm going to have to equip my Dream Shield and pray and hope to God that their projectiles don't hit me. I do not know how to maneuver around them or platform properly, so I'm just hoping that a Dream Shield kind of helps me. Right now, I won't lie, it does feel a bit underwhelming, but it gets a lot trickier when there's only 1 of them left because they do get a lot faster when their brother dies and they just get filled with rage. And then we just kill them right afterwards because we're the villain in the story. I equipped the Fluke Nest again with Shaman Stone. Hive Knight really reminds me of the Soul Warrior for some reason. And if you're confused why I'm using the Desolate Dive here, it's because I need to avoid those little needles that he just spawns out of nowhere. Because they have the tendency to hit me no matter how hard I try to avoid them, so I just use the invincibility frame to get out of there. Oh, that's gonna do a lot. I bet that did a lot of damage. That felt like a lot of damage. I don't know why, I can't really explain it. That feels like a shotgun, to be honest. I don't know why. I'm not going to be changing the charms even in the slightest, because Steady Body and, well, Flukes do a lot of damage. I don't know how to explain it. I just can tell that they're doing double damage, even though I can't really prove it. Insert Dexter meme here, but yeah, I think you get the idea. The only thing that really bothers me in the Lost Kin fight are those little small infection flying thingies, those orange little babies that kind of spawn. They kind of get in the way of the fight, and I try to get rid of them as quickly as possible because they just happen to catch me off guard sometimes. I don't know how this fight is going so well, honestly. This is my first try, but yeah, I feel like such a pro using the Flukemarm. It feels like such a nice confidence boost. Oh, he almost got me there. It should be almost done. Honestly, I feel like he's almost dead. This fight is taking a while. There we go. I really like the Nosk boss fight, because I felt overwhelmed when I first fought him, and now he's so easy. The only reason I was so overwhelmed was probably because I was so underleveled. I really like him a lot more than the flying one, because it's a lot less tedious and a lot more fun. Like right now, I'm actually feeling engaged into the boss fight, rather than just looking for him to strike me just so I can play defensively, which I really don't like doing. Well, here we go. Flying Nosk. I have this small strategy against Flying Nosk where I use the Flukeworm for him to just run into. I think it does a lot more damage than the Vengeful Spirit because he just runs into them, and I feel like that should do more damage, but I'm not quite sure. I haven't really seen anyone doing this so far, but I'm hoping that this is a good strategy and not just useless. I'm just making sure that this is gonna be a faster fight. For the Collector, I like doing this thing where I Abyss Shriek while he's on top of my head. He has the tendency to jump over the player's head so often, like just like this. He does this every time. He doesn't even bother attacking. So I'm just going to try to make this faster. Gonna Dream Nail him in a bit. Yeah, gonna try to make this faster and do more damage to him while Abyss Shrieking and while he's taking multiple frames of damage. I think I'm beginning to understand why people like the Flukeness so much. It does a lot of damage, it's satisfying, it's even good against the God Tamer and smaller bosses where you can do multiple frames of damage. I don't know, it's just an overall good, satisfying charm. I don't know if it is on paper, but it feels nice, so honestly I'm just gonna go with that. I'm not gonna be a total nerd about it, and I'm not going to be searching everything up. I'm just going to go with my gut for the only time, and I hope it does me well. Usually I would use the Sharp Shadow for the Crystal Guardian and then Raged Guardian, but the Flukeworms just feel so satisfying to hit. I'm just gonna use this particular charm this only time, and I feel like it's doing a lot more damage than the Sharp Shadow. Same thing for this guy. He just doesn't feel any different, even if he's like an awakened version of himself. I don't even consider this a boss fight, honestly. This is just bullying. I am going to be using the Dream Wielder so I can rack up on soul for the Uumuu fight. And I'm gonna tell you this is not my first fight. This is my 15th take at the boss fight, probably. I haven't really kept track of the number, but it's been a couple of games, and I'm just fucking tired, honestly. I'm going to try to do a lot of spell damage. These jellyfishes have bounced onto me and on from my ass countless times, and it's been pissing me off. I'm just hoping that the RNG in this particular take is going to favor me. Almost died there, by the way. Come on, why won't this guy die? I swear this guy dies a lot easier in the Pantheons. Maybe they have a higher HP in the Ascendant and the Radiant fights. Please die, please die, please die. This is your third time exploding. Thank you. There was Uumuu, and then there's this guy. This is hardly a boss fight. This is bullying a special child. It feels like the Enraged Guardian and the Pure Vessel had a weird autistic child, and this is it. Because he can't land a straight hit for shit. Anyways, there's this thing you can do where you can Sharp Shadow through him and Desolate Dive when he does this thing. Yeah, here. He's gonna do it again. Yep. Sometimes it's best to save your Shade Cloak and just Desolate Dive, because it's just more efficient and he's not gonna be able to catch you off guard. I've seen a lot of you guys complain in my comment section that Zod is a lot harder than I deem him to be. It's probably because he's a lot of RNG. Here's this neat little tip. You can use your Desolate Dive to just avoid all of his attacks. Well, most of his attacks, especially this diving one. And you can just spam your nail onto him. I do have the Flukeness on, and it's going to help me kill him a lot faster, I bet. There we go. I'm going to set the record straight. This guy is not a boss fight. This guy feels like a pathetic excuse of a boss, and he just feels like a normal enemy with increased hit points. He's so bad as a boss that he's used as a pre-boss against the Soulmaster, and he's just there before him, which is kind of annoying. There we go, he's dead already. I remember the first time feeling so overwhelmed while beating the Soulmaster for the first time. Now he's just fun, he's like a fond memory. The Soul Tyrant is a different story, but this guy's just fun. I like spamming my spells on him. I like that he's not too fast, he's not too slow, he makes me chase him. And it's like a push and pull relationship, you know, a very toxic relationship where I get to beat his... Okay, I'm not gonna shut up now. I'm going to abuse the Abyss Shriek here, and it should do a lot of damage. It took me an embarrassing amount of takes to beat the Soul Tyrant. I'm saying this while editing, by the way. This is probably my 50th take. And I don't know what happened in between. I just got kind of greedy and impatient and I kept dying. But I ended up getting it this time. You know, the thing about the Soul Tyrant is that you gotta be really patient beating him, because he will catch you off guard. If you keep dashing towards wherever he's spawning or get greedy and think that you're going to be able to land another nail damage, he's going to get contact on you. And it usually wouldn't be a big problem, but for Radiant runs where you have only 1 HP, it's kind of a deal breaker. Again, I will be using the Fluke Nest because, well, it does a shit ton of damage. And Dung Defender, oh my god, he ate that Fluke. Oh god. That must have dealt at least a lot of damage. At least double, maybe. You know, I like to do this thing where I Desolate dive while he's swimming in his own scat, which is kind of filthy when you think about it. I wonder what kind of bug he really is, playing with his own filth like that, which is, I don't know, doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I mean, it's a concept. You know, there's not much to say for the White Defender because, hey, the strategy is more or less the same for the Dung Defender and this one. The only difference is that I can't really use the Desolate dive to do extra damage, but hey, it's not really that big of a problem because I still got the Fluke Nest. By the way, this is the only boss fight where I took off Unbreakable Strength because I wanted to focus more on the spells. This is the first time I'm ever doing something like this, and I feel like it's gonna work pretty well. Oh my god, this guy is tanky. I haven't noticed how big of a difference Unbreakable Strength really makes because I've been damage tanking my whole life, and this is the first time where I'm actually having to strategize and work with my spells and nails. It's quite an experience. I feel like this is the best build for this because I've actually attempted this quite a few times. And this feels like the closest I've ever gotten to beating them, so maybe this take will be it. Noise is a boss that is very annoying to deal with, honestly, and these thorns don't make it any easier. She keeps hovering around, going into positions where I can't even reach her. I mean, as you can see, my nail can't even hit her. Okay, maybe the Great Slash can, but like, I just can't normally. So I'm going to have to use my spells quite a bit. Marmo's really easy. He's just the second massive moss charger. You just gotta make sure that you don't slash your nail upwards because he does end up getting very fast and it becomes very difficult to react to him. Budget Markoth is also kind of easy. I mean, it's not really that difficult to be honest. You just have to make sure that you use your Great Slash very often. This is why I have the Nailmasters Glory on right now. And I tend to use the Abyss Shriek a lot more than the Shade Cloak because it does a lot of damage when it's connected properly. As you can see, he's already on his second phase and I'm pretty sure he's already really low. There we go. God, please go easy on me on this one. Please. Just please. I just know I'm gonna need your help, God. This is gonna be a lot of RNG. The first phase already is hard in and of itself and it doubles up when he's half health. Oh, I'm just gonna have to be very careful here.
mine.
Finally. Galleon is really simple. Just have your Mark of Pride on, slash upwards, use your Abyss Shriek, and that's about it. This little thing that is spinning around can't hit you for shit unless you just stay stationary. There we go. He should be dead. Oh, okay. Okay, that almost caught up to me. Budget Markoth 2 is just like Budget Markoth 1. Just use your Great Slash and just... Honestly, that's it. You don't even need anything. Use your spells occasionally and this should be a very easy fight. He's already kind of, I think, 33% of the way done. Bro, even a toddler can beat Elder Who. I don't want to glaze myself, but I have never, ever died to this boss once in my entire life. Just the dash in and of itself is enough to avoid all of his attacks. The Shade Cloak just makes it a walk in the park. Just slash upwards and just use your Abyss Shriek. But the only annoying part about him is that he just ends up disappearing whenever you end up landing. But I don't know why he isn't this time, maybe I'm getting lucky. So he should be pretty low, there we go. I've had such a bad experience with the Nailmasters because I had this bad habit of tanking all of their hits and using my staggered self to do a lot of damage. I didn't even know they took turns hitting you. I just kind of kept slashing at them together at the same time and I never wondered why it was so difficult. When I took my time, I realized how easy this boss fight was and I didn't really have to tank anything. Honestly, I think Paintmaster Shio's the only boss that never really gave me a lot of trouble. I usually still would tank all of his attacks unless I was low, but it's just really easy to avoid. You just look at the tip of his color, the paintbrush, and it's just really easy to tell what he's gonna do. And also the Shade Cloak just demolishes every single splash of paint that is thrown at you, making it a lot easier to take care of this boss. Oh my god, Sly. Sly is the only guy that gave me such a hard time in this entire game. I have no idea how to beat him. I had no idea before. And now when I kept dying to him and waited around, I realized that you get opportunities to hit him once in a while. He does do double damage occasionally, which, you know, doesn't matter in this game mode, but still. The thing about Sly is that you have to listen for audio cues. When he goes for that spin attack, he does a different voice. Rather than when he does a double attack. See, when you hear this, you can tell he's gonna go for a triple attack, and that's when you know you're going to have your opportunity to hit him. So you just have to be a bit more vigilant. I do have the Walkmaster on right now, so I'm just... Sorry, I mean the Sprintmaster, and I'm running a lot faster. I have the... what's that called? The Sharp Shadow on, so I can dash a bit further. Speed is everything in this particular fight. The Pure Vessel is one of the most perfect boss battles in this entire game. I would argue that it's actually one of the best, because everything is telegraphed so well, it's just based on your skill. You have to parry him, you have to make sure that you're more vigilant than you usually are. He is fast, but if you react fast enough, then you shouldn't really have a problem. Just use your Sharp Shadow whenever he throws himself at you and you should be fine. The Grimm boss fights are very similar to the Pure Vessel. You just have to take your time and make sure that you're not getting too greedy. Use your Sharp Shadow, occasionally use your spells, and that's about it. Just play patient and everything should work out fine. There really isn't much to explain and break down for Nightmare King Grimm, because he's just basically the same boss fight over again, just a bit more faster. The same tips apply, just use your Sharp Shadow, be patient, and just don't overdo your turn, or else he's going to move backwards and hit you on impact. And that's usually kind of annoying. What I learned is to just take my time, and this is where I do the most damage. I hit him and then dash through him. Oh, I forgot to hit him with the Great Slash, but you get the idea. My entire day has led up to this moment, and it's been much anticipated, so I think it's time for me to beat the Radiance. I just hope I can beat it within time. Wait, what the? Alright, I gotta beat the Pantheons. One sec. It's finally happening. The 44th boss. The last and most difficult left for last. I have to beat the Ascendant version first. And I'm really hoping it's not that difficult. I mean, it can't be as hard as Markoth, right? How bad can it really be? Okay, that's some nice damage. Alright, he did it twice. Okay. Oh, that did 8 hearts of damage. I'm so screwed. I can't even heal that far back up. I can't heal anymore. Okay, I'm just getting used to it. I can't even see the laser beams properly. I'm just gonna lower the brightness up a little bit. I'm gonna change my charms as well and not be overcharmed, just so I don't take double damage. I think Spell Twister is very nice for this fight. Future Envy here. This took me quite a few takes even on Ascendant mode. At least maybe 30 or so. No, I'm not exaggerating. Absolute Radiance is no joke. Not only is it very difficult to react to in certain situations, there's also RNG which was messing me up sometimes. I gave it my all for at least 2 hours or so and I finally got this far. For reference, every Radiant boss, including Markoth, only took me about 5 to 6 hours. This alone took me 2, and this isn't even Radiant, and I'm just very scared of what's gonna happen next. I took so many takes at fighting Absolute Radiance that I even lost track. I stopped recording for half the time because of how long it had been. No matter how close I got, I messed up the slightest bit and lost every time. It had been around 5 hours on Absolute Radiance alone, so I decided to take a break and tried one last time. I had finally done it. I've defeated Hollow Knight all the way, right in time for Silksong as well. But I can't help but realize, this feels strangely anticlimactic.